Hola, welcome to the Galaxy's Edge podcast. My name is Walt, and somehow, some way, I got my hands on an N4, and I'm not afraid to use it. We are talking about the amazing book series Galaxy's Edge by Jason Anspach and Nick Cole. And to do that tonight, we have a roundtable of our usual group of miscreants from around the platoon of Dark Ops. Starting from my left lower to my right upper. God, that sounds like I'm getting a colostomy bag or something like that. Starting at the bottom, I have Dark Ops 0117 Swordfish, a.k.a. Daniel. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic.
Because he is so Dark Ops, he did not want to put his Legion identifier. We have Mr. J.R. Handley, author of The Reservist. How are you, sir? Broken. And above him, we have another person who is so shady. He because the Nether Ops guys don't use numbers. We have Matt. How are you, sir?
Mate, I'm fantastic. How you doing?
I am. I'm not quite so fantastic. I'm sublime, I think, tonight. So I'll take sublime over fantastic. Hopefully, Mr. JR is troubleshooting and will join us momentarily after he unbreaks his audio. I don't have him muted, so I don't know. He loves technology. He really, really loves technology. So tonight, for our first public broadcast of the Galaxy's Edge podcast, we'll go into a little history. As Galaxy's Edge is a book series, has developed a core group of insiders, people who are part of a band of people who get the books early. We go through and we give our points of view on them, pretty much, and then, I hear something.
Can you hear me now?
Oh my God, that's
horrible.
Jesus!
Is it bad?
You sound like you're talking inside of a submarine.
Hanley, go down to Cam and Mike, the gear.
Yeah.
Click that, and then click audio and disable audio processing. Try that.
I'm going to mute him while he's doing that. Just unmute yourself, JR, when you're ready.
Better?
No.
Have you tried turning it on and turning it off again?
To say with the audio like that, how's life on the moon, mate?
Yeah, you're right. That's how we got on this podcast in the first place. Galaxy's Edge has developed its own core group of insiders, and those insiders are subscribed to the group, and they get books early. We get to give our opinions. We get to give our likes or dislikes, and the authors are really great to take all of that stuff and tell us where to go and how to get there. No, I'm kidding. They do a great job of incorporating a lot of the feedback. In fact, some of the guys have even and girls who have submitted their feedback have ended up as people, legionnaires, and other types of characters in and around the Galaxy's Edge universe. Really, really cool. But the typical format has been to only have the show for the insiders, and the authors wanted to branch out a little bit and give a little something to people maybe on the outside looking in. Just kind of like it's kind of like Ranger Day on Fort Benning. Anybody can come in and check out what it's like to be a ranger. But if you want that extra bit of torture, like running up Cardiac Hill or getting up at 5:30 in the morning so you can do a 6-minute 5-mile run, that requires a little extra. So to start off, though, let's go about our impressions of Galaxy's Edge. What is it, and where it kind of grabbed us? Daniel, did you want to talk about your first impressions of Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah, sure. So my first impressions are I happened to see it in Audible, and I was just like, oh, it looks good, pretty cool. and I gave the Galaxy's Edge 1 a listen, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. I like it. And then all of a sudden it said epilogue, and it turned into a whole other book. And I'm like, whoa, 2 books in one. What value? But honestly, when I was listening to it, I was like, I started to like the characters a lot. I liked how serious it could be and how it could fit in some kind of funny parts here and there. And yeah, like one of my favorite characters to hear R.C. Bray speak was Ravi. But overall, I think it's a pretty great series. I'm happy with it.
Matt, go for it.
I am an audible person, but I have just a preference just to read text. I'm that guy. I'm old school, I know. I first discovered Legionnaire and while I was deployed, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Even if you don't read the rest of the series, as a standalone book itself, it is fantastic. It's hard-hitting military sci-fi. I loved it. I just loved just getting into the suck and then the things that were happening. And once I read it, I loved it, and all of a sudden, as Daniel said, I discovered the rest of the books, and from there, it's like living in a tent, enjoying the comfort and niceties of a tent, and then opening up and the world's before you. That's what it felt like when I ended up reading all the rest of the books, as they all went through the series, all the side calls, the spin-offs, everything, and it has just been a wild ride from start to finish. Things you just don't see coming. The universe is gigantic. It is expansive, and I love that when it comes to military science fiction. The authors are all very knowledgeable in their respective fields, especially those who've served. You can just tell the little details. You can just tell, and that just makes me so happy. It's great, mate.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
All right, I turned off the program that was trying to access the webcam simulator since I don't have one. But see, tech loves me, and I write science fiction. That's why I do the hand wavium. All right, so your question.
I'm trying to judge, but yeah, you sound a lot better.
All right, perfect. Go
ahead.
All right, so the question was to make sure I get this right, because us infantry grunts, we like to mess stuff up. But the what I thought of when I first found Galaxy's Edge, and then after I read a lot more of the books, was that it?
Well, what were your first impressions of Galaxy's Edge?
So I actually first found it through the audio. I'm not like an R.C. Bray fanboy. I don't like him or dislike him. I'm not taking that position. I don't follow any one narrator. I was just starting to get into audiobooks, and I found the book, and I started listening. And I was listening to Legionnaire, the first part of the first audiobook. And I remember thinking I could have been back in Iraq. I actually was driving. It was a road trip for my brother-in-law's wedding. And I had to pull over and take a few deep breaths. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not listening to this while I'm driving. It was good. It could have been any one of the villages in Iraq I'd seen. So that was how I first found it. And my wife looked at me and she's like, JR, you might want to just read this in paper. Maybe we turn the audio off on this one for a while. So that was how I first found it, was that.
Right on. Now, I know I came into it, the cover is what caught me, because the guy was standing there with the rifle slung on a wolf clip in that stylized armor, and he had proper finger off the trigger discipline. He was standing like we used to stand when we were out in the sand and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's interesting. So before I even read it, I chased down. The boys had done a couple of podcasts, and I listened to it, and I was like, man, I have got to find this. So I went, downloaded the book, and I was just like, all right, so their whole premise is, what if the stormtroopers were the good guys? And instead of World War II style antics in space, it was Afghanistan antics in space, and they could actually hit what they aim for? And at the time, they had the book priced for like $1.99. I'm like, for a cup of coffee, all day long and twice on Sunday, you know. But then it was so good, and I'm like, I must get the second book, you know. And then the change of pace and tone for Galactic Outlaws was crazy, because it went from this very hard military science fiction to almost something very, very close to that franchise that shall not be named that is owned by the mouse. And and we just ended up with like these two great stories. And then when they Kill Team, oh my god, right? So it was one of those, yeah, right. So it was one of those things where, you know, you were reading this stuff, and it was really, really, really like hitting on all cylinders. Like, you can tell these guys either had known operators or they had done their research about operators, and they knew the right language to use, how guys talk when they're deployed. Masters, putting him in a book was freaking genius, because we all known the Masters.
Or been the Masters, whatever.
Oh, you were that good looking?
Yeah, we'll go with that one.
Oh boy. Yep. This is where the trouble starts. But I mean, it was really that way. So going around the table, let's start with JR this time. What was the first thing you read in the series?
Legionnaire.
What'd you think?
I absolutely freaking loved it. By book 3, I was hooked, and I started the fan club.
Oh, that good, huh?
Yeah.
Holy crap! So what was it about it that caught you?
Okay, so we won't talk about the mouse, but I loved the original movies. As a kid, I remember that scene where they're in a desert, and we're going to say what shall not be said, but they're in a desert, and they're shot grouping, and a certain guy in a funny, dirty robe on a desert planet says, "That must be stormtroopers. Only they're that good." And of course, they spend the rest of the universe showing why they never hit anything. So when we started seeing the original pitch of stormtroopers in Afghanistan, but they hit things, I was like, dude, sign me up.
And Matt, first thing you read, and what'd you think?
Like JR, Legionnaire, and as I said before, yeah, I'm just a fan of everything military and everything science fiction. So the further I got into it, and even though for those who aren't regulars and haven't been listening to this, even though I am Pogue, even though I deployed and I was just behind the wire and stuff, still that level of operatedness, if that is a word I could use. Just knowing that from what I've heard, what I've seen, what I've read, and what others have told me, that's what they go through when they go out on patrol, interacting with their surroundings, and the tension through it as well, and the action was just unreal. And normally when I read books, I sometimes have a hard time just concentrating, because there's sometimes some of the words are, it's too convoluted, it's too short, or whatever like that. It was very well written when I read it at the time. I was like, this is excellent, and I couldn't put it down. I read it the whole thing in a single night when I was laying there in my room, and give me 10 more Legionnaires. And as I say that, of course, we now have the entire series.
Now, was there alcohol involved in this?
No, I was deployed. No alcohol allowed.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
been there, done that. Daniel, first book that you read in the series?
Legionnaire, obviously, and like I said, I picked up in that double book whammy. So.
Oh, on audio.
Yeah.
Now, was it jarring to go from one to the other?
Yeah, it was incredibly jarring, because I'm like, all right. I spent a good 30 minutes wrapping my head around what the change was. Of course, I was listening to this while driving, because at the time I was doing a long commute, about an hour or so, and so I just pop on my audiobook, head on to work or whatever, and and it's epilogue, and I'm like, oh, cool, and then that, and I'm like, this is a really long epilogue, peek at my phone while I'm driving. Oh, Jesus, I got another couple hours left. But yeah, yeah, that's how I got introduced into it. Currently, one of my favorite books is, I'd say, The Best of Us.
Really?
I know Matt doesn't like it because he hates AI.
That's a story for another time. I hate to quote the Disney stuff.
When you guys were reading Legionnaire, now obviously Matt and JR, you guys have a military background to draw on. Daniel, what was it about Legionnaire that touched for you? Because you haven't been in the military yet, correct?
No.
Right, but what was it that caught you? Because I mean, the green feet on the podcast, we've all like either worked with that guy or been that guy, and that really sucked us in. But how about yourself?
In my case, I've always been a fan of science fiction, military science fiction, so it's not too hard for me to, I guess, wrap my head around it. I can envision the scenes pretty well if I'm either reading it or I'm listening to it. So either way, it works. But it wasn't too hard for me to, I guess, get into it.
Right on. So I got to tell you, the art on that first book cover blew me away, because I mean, the armor was pretty cool, but the thing that caught me were the freaking gloves and that firearm, the M4 on the cover.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a cool representation of how a futuristic rifle might look, but also, I mean, having one of those Oakleys, with the knuckle dusters on the top and the finger protection and stuff, you can almost feel what that grip felt like in your hand. How about you guys? What did you guys think of that artwork?
Who'd want to go first? I'll go first. Whatever. I started talking. So, believe it or not, the first thing that caught my eye was the trigger discipline. Yeah, the first thing I looked at the cover. The first thing I saw was like, yep. As soon as he's holding, yep. I looked at it and went, okay, now whoever has done this, then they know their stuff. And mate, I was excited. Then after that, yeah, same deal. I worked my way outwards. The armor was just badass. The gloves are awesome, and it just it had all the workings of a bloody romp in the zoo. Like, it was so good. I have like highest resolution files I can of this as some of my wallpapers. So I got 2,000 wallpapers that cycle through every half an hour. And that's part of it.
Oh wow!
I'd also like to point out, and I've kind of gained this knowledge through listening to other military sci-fi books and just military books in general. The way he's holding the gun, he's holding up to his chest like that, where it's like quick and easy to actually get in position, right? So I thought, yeah, that's another sign that they know what they're doing.
Hell yeah. JR?
Oh, okay, you're going to unmute me this time.
It's the ambient sound.
He's got. I'm sitting there and I'm moving through the interface for the magical web thing that we have going on tonight, and I keep hearing, and I'm like, wow, somebody's hand-fisting those keys. And I'm like, who it is.
All right, so the first thing I noticed about the image was that the contrast, because it was in sort of brown tones, and I think it's been a running joke that I'm colorblind. So this was one that I could actually see because it had sort of the sepia, I think that's how you pronounce it, that sort of stereotype look. Yeah, that look to it. So I really dug that. And then, yes, I noticed the rifle, and yes, I noticed the trigger discipline. But what really jumped out to me were the little details that weren't ignored, like the ammo pouch. It looks like a universal blaster pack strapped to his arm, and the patch that's on his pauldron. I think that's what the shoulder pads are called, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all those little details. Or right under his rifle is the two ammo packs, where, if those of us who've worn the flak jackets with the sapie plate inserts, that's where we placed our own ammo packs. Because right when I was in, we were transitioning from the LBV load-bearing vest, which was like the suspender set, to then it was the vest, like, looks like you could be hunting Bambi with, to clipping all of it to the vest itself, to the flak jacket. And so, like, all those details were like incorporated into what he was wearing. And then the shamagan, I think that's how you say it. I'm horrible at pronouncing things, but the neck scarf, like, we saw those all the time while we're deployed because they're just great at keeping sand out of places you don't want sand to be.
Yeah.
So it was the little details more than anything that got me.
You wore one.
I did,
Yeah.
but I was in a turret a lot.
Oh yeah, that stuff was great for, especially on those hot days when it was like a $105, $110 Fahrenheit, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna soak this in water and wrap it around the back of my neck and then put my armor on.
So when I was in Iraq, they had one of the summer days where it got hot enough that an old school mercury thermometer that went up to 140 degrees, it got so hot that exploded. And the asphalt would get so hot if you stayed in one place too long on the roads when you were doing the MSRs that you would start sinking into the asphalt because it was reliquefying.
That's good times. That's
Yeah.
good times.
So those details that they incorporated into that image, that's what got me.
Nice. So we find the series. You get all up in there, and everything's just like just a wild banter of coolness, right? When did you guys find the Facebook group?
I'd say I found the Facebook group pretty quickly myself. Maybe after the first couple of audiobooks that they had released at the time. I can actually probably find out when I joined. But yeah. And then I think I saw that it was either Walt or somebody else that had made the post about the Discord, and I popped on there around early June. And
Right
that's where I am today.
Yeah, you guys are like the consiglieres of Discord. It's a magical time, and it wouldn't be what it is without you. We'll get into that in a minute. So now, did you guys consume? I know JR said he did. We know Daniel did. Matt, did you consume that on audio as well? Those first two books?
Honestly, no, I didn't. I have hardly listened to any of the audio. I have a preference to just read text. And the audio I have listened to is fantastic. Like I have listened to the first 3 books on audio. It is fantastic. I just have a preference to read text. Like I don't know, like audio had its benefits, especially when I was driving and doing bloody road trips down south for work. But I've liked being able to sit there. There's many reasons, but I want to point out a selfish one because I love pointing this out to people at work. And I did it a couple of years ago when I was overseas. If I've got my phone or my Kindle there, physically reading, it is essentially the sign to tell everyone, "Do not disturb me, or I will kill you." Yeah, and people would see me they'd see me read. I'd even do it at work. I'm going to admit it. I'll do it at work all the time. I'm reading. Someone comes in and I'm having lunch and I'm just looking at my phone with the books and I'm looking at them and I just point to the phone and go, "Really, mate? Really?" But no, since I was a little kid, pretty much my father just threw the books and go, "Yep, read now, boy, read." And then I've just been I've been bloody text ever since. But the audio is good. I've only listened to the first 3 books in the audio. That's it.
So we have a couple of listeners to the show, and they're saying one of the guys is Big Billy Style. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I downloaded The Best of Us when it came out on audio and just couldn't get into it. Not in the mood at the time for post-apocalyptic. But when I did finally listen to it, I freaking loved it. That's going back to Karen Travis's book that was much later in the series. And then over on the face space, and hopefully not my cat complaining, Dan Kim says, "Love that cover, but the bucket kind of looks like a bullet funnel to the eye." Depends. Does it deflect inward or does it deflect outward? I don't know. You have to play with that and see. Anybody got a spare bucket they can let us shoot?
I don't know about that.
JR, you were working on one, right?
Yeah, that's a tale of bitterness and
woe.
So I hired a guy, and we won't name names anymore, but I hired a guy. He took my $250 deposit, and then it's been That was supposed to come out in 2018. The bucket was supposed to be done by the summer, and I don't have my $250, and I don't have my bucket.
Sounds like we need to take a road trip.
So Mother Ree in the Discord group has reached out to some of her friends in the Mando uniform modding groups that she travels in to see if she can hook something up. So we'll see.
Nice. So we go into that. We start getting into the weeds on like an actual tone. When you reach the end of the book, you kind of got an idea of what this universe is supposed to be, and then boom, Galactic Outlaws hit. What did that do for you guys? Did it scratch an itch? Did it irritate an itch? Talk to me.
I'm gonna go with irritate. Honestly, it's like just the fact I wanted more at the time. Like it was a good irritation. It was very good irritation. It's once I'd finished reading it, I've gone, no, that can't be it. I must have more. Yeah, and yeah, that's what it was. It answered some stuff. It left a lot of questions as it was supposed to, and there was a lot of great themes in it too. But it made me want more. And then once I led on to book 3, book 3. But yeah,
Right on, JR.
Yeah. I'm staring at this artwork and drooling because I love the new artwork, and all thought goes out of your head when you look at that glorious image.
Right. Yeah, it's really good. They did and this is the second cover because the original cover is, the mid cover.
I like the original cover, but this one definitely speaks more to the series writ large. Like, it fits the larger universe and matches all the other covers, and I think they were right to switch it. The original one sort of looked like it was its own thing.
Right on.
Although I thought I remember Jason saying that Galactic Outlaw was actually supposed to be like a mirror series in the same universe.
Yes.
So it sort of made sense that they would have to go back to the same artist and get it all done. But yeah, I'm definitely in love with that cover. And I got so distracted I forgot whatever the question was.
The question was, what did you think when you went from Legionnaire to Galactic Outlaws? Did it jar you? Did you enjoy it? What happened?
So I grew up reading the larger, what is now considered Legends at the larger universe for Star Wars as a kid. So I read all those books. I read all the Halo books. So I was very used to a universe that smoothly transitioned between hard mill SF and space opera, and so that wasn't really a problem for me because I like both. I could see how if you were a fan of one and not the other, it could be jarring. But for me, it was just like, oh, more of all of it. So I was good.
Yeah, it was. Daniel, did you discuss how you found, because you caught this all in one go because of the audio, right?
Yeah, it was just like boom, boom, both barrels of the shotgun to the head. Just like, oh my God, there's so much information.
What did you think when they made that transition to the really long epilogue, which wasn't an epilogue?
Like I said before, I thought it was pretty awesome. And after I got caught up on what was going on and the actual time shift and everything, it was fine. But for the most part, as soon as I started listening to Galactic Outlaws, I actually started enjoying the series a lot more. Like I said, that's when a lot of the characters that I actually kind of enjoy more so start being more prevalent. Like Keel, and for those that don't know, he's the guy holding the big old blaster right there, looking like Han Solo up there, all cool with his alien woman. I do gotta admit, I haven't seen this artwork before. So when I see Prisma, I'm like, oh, she's so adorable. Look at her with her little pistol there. That's cute. She's gonna kill a lot of people now.
So you focused on Prisma, which I think is funny because I'm looking at the Warbot behind her.
Yeah, I was about to say about the Warbot. So I was not a fan of Rogue One. But I did like Alan Tudyk's robot, and that actually kind of reminds me of that. And I kind of actually, to be honest, whenever I pictured KRS-88, I pictured like one of those fucking big trash cans, you know, like the big metal trash cans, the round ones, and it had like armament that would pop out or something like that. Because I guess the way it was, it came to me was when I was listening to the series is that he kind of rolled around and was just like, "It's okay, little miss," you know. It's like, "Aw, you know, she loves his trash. She loves the trash can," you know.
See, I actually pictured it closer in line with like the original Cylon in the original Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah,
so that
boy.
more metallic but humanoid.
Mhm.
But obviously, a lot more of the badassery involved because you know that's just what they do. But yeah, I didn't picture it as the treads because I'm pretty sure they said he walked, right?
They probably did. I mean, I'm driving at the same time as listening to it, so I probably
Sure.
missed something. But yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty cool to have that transition. And I'm gonna be like a dad hammering the same joke for the last 8 years. I really loved when you get the first few bars of this song that became Galactic Outlaws. Your introduction to it is this dumpy, dopey guy who's just kind of riding the fringes of the galaxy and not doing much with his life. Um, I thought that was a real stark contrast to Legionnaire, but at the same
Chun.
time, yeah, no,
Hogus.
no, Hogus.
Hogus was the man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was just.
Taken from us too soon.
I just thought it was awesome because I mean, it just showed a real dichotomy to this universe that yes, you still had these amazing Legionnaires running around, but at the same time that they're in the universe, this dude is in the universe, and he's like a comedy of errors that somehow manages to get it right at the end of every run. But Nick Cole and Jason have said before, and it never clicked when I read it until I went back and reread it after they had said it on one of the podcasts. Hogus is the guy that slapped Skriz, who is the Catman, in the lower part of the thing right there, and lived to tell the tale. Because later on in the series, you find out how destructive that particular race is, and when you got this guy who's disheveled, he's falling apart. He probably could stand to, do a sit-upper, 100. And he slaps this cat for not moving fast enough. And it's like, how did you come away with your hand still attached to your neck? I mean, that's pretty impressive. But then all the other characters that were introduced, up to and including the guy in the helmet at the top, because I mean, we had that great epilogue at the end of Legionnaire, and then all of a sudden this dude shows up, and you're like, is that the guy? Oh my, this might be the guy, and then you get to see him actually operate. Pretty cool. So I know we're kind of like trickling through the series, but I don't want to do like a book for book. But at the same time, what was we've already had your first introduction to Galaxy's Edge, and since coming out, what was it, 2017? I think they released, or 2016.
16, I'm pretty sure.
16.
Let me.
I'm checking too.
Since they released, I mean, we have an entire 9-book series of season 1. We have the Order of the Centurion series, which details the highest military award given to those who have served in or through the Legion. And then we have Contracts and Terminations, which details the exploits of the famous or infamous bounty hunter, Tyrus Rex. We have the Takeover series, which takes place as the bridge between season 1 and 2. And now we have The Best of Us, Karen Travis, which tells some of the first steps of mankind into the universe. So we have a lot of content, and that's not even discussing some of the stuff that was just released to members of the Insider Group. So that being said, what was the last thing you guys read in the series so far?
The most recent book that released, which was Best of Us for me, because that's the last audio release, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Jason said that we were supposed to have a audiobook drop sometime either by the end of this month or sometime in February.
I think they were talking Savage Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I might need some alone time when that one comes out.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I'll be in
I'm
my
gonna
very,
be
very excited for that one for a reason.
Yeah, me too.
I gotta tell you, because what do you call it? Daniel makes a special guest appearance in the in Savage Wars 3, and I was like, "What?"
I didn't know about that until you brought it up. I'm like, what? And you're like, you're in Savage Wars 3. I'm like, oh, nice. Can't wait to listen to it.
Can we talk about that once we finish talking about what we just got done being read?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. So, JR, what's the last thing you just read?
So aside from my own, because I've been listening to it on loop as I start writing the sequel, I just finished the Order of Centurion again because somebody was in the FaceSpace group talking about they hated Berlin, and I'm like, I remember liking him, so I went and listened to it again. I still like the dude. I mean, he was a flawed character, but I still like him. Take that. And I'm about to start Iron Wolves because I'm going to work my way through the other 4 Order of Centurion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Berlin wasn't that bad.
No, I mean, he was a product of a flawed system. He was raised in a flawed system, and in the end, he overcame.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
So it was a redemption arc. It was a sort of grimdark one because people died because of him, but it was still a redemption arc.
How about it, Matt? What was the last thing you read?
Aside from the Insider stuff, which just got released, the last commercial release I read was The Reservist. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Which I have promoted this many, many times, but it is my current all-time favorite Galaxy's Edge book.
Wow. Stop, I'm blushing.
Yeah, it legitimately is. I don't know why. I was just addicted from start to finish. I couldn't get it. That is rare when it comes to books. That is rare. And yeah. And one sitting at work, I pretty much sat there at work and just went, read.
Yeah,
when we very first got, what was that?
Yeah.
Did you see the comment he pulled on the screen?
Chipper Rattle, he's like, they made us like points in Order of the Centurion. How dare they?
Yeah, when it first dropped for Insiders, that's when I sat there and read it, and yeah, it's I should have gone through and given I know inside copies like to try and give feedback, but I just couldn't. I had to keep reading, and it was fantastic. But yeah, for the commercial release, that's the latest one I've read.
Right on. So with so many books and so many releases that have been done since Galaxy's Edge first showed us that stormtroopers can hit what they aim for. What did you? How has these latest releases either changed, improved, or altered your love for this franchise? What's it done to how you see it? Ooh, I stumped the panel.
Sorry, I got sidetracked. What was that? My brain shut off. I'm pulling a Hanley. All right.
I got you.
Ouch.
So that being said, I'll throw the question to Mr. Hanley first. With the last thing that you've read, how has that changed, altered, or improved the way that you see the universe, Galaxy's Edge?
I think, like many of us that came at this with already having spent some time in desert paradises of Mesopotamia and other pleasant places abroad, like we already had our own baggage coming into this. Every reader brings their own baggage, regardless of what it is. And so for me, like the universe already flushed out some because I sort of put my own military experience and inserted, right? So I started with that. What happened since then, when I've read all 9 of the original books and then several of the follow-on, is I've realized that I don't need to do that anymore because they flushed it out so much more than I ever could have in my head that I don't have to sort of create my own headcanon anymore, if that makes sense. Like, they're doing it for me. And so using the Order of the Centurion Book 1, which I just reread, the fact that we can reread these books and enjoy it every time, that alone says something. Because when you don't like a book, you don't read it again and again and again. And I feel like every time I listen to some of these, I get something new out of it that I missed the first time. And I've read them as ebooks, and I've listened to them as audio. I jump back and forth, several times with each one. But one of the things I did like is they started in Legionnaire, and you have this main point character who shall not be named because he's evil and I want to smash his face in. You have this evil point character who should have been allowed to die. And he was just broken, and he was obvious, like a symptom of the larger corruption of the House of Reason. And then you start to see points with Wash and with Berlin, and you think, well, maybe they're not all so bad after all. Some of them are probably just, cogs in the wheel of a broken machine. And so I like that they've expanded the universe even more than I could have imagined at first.
Right on. Daniel, hit it.
Like I said, when Best of Us dropped, I actually liked the different attack of storytelling. I felt it was a nice change of pace. And so I actually enjoyed that a lot, where, it's just a different perspective. And it kind of made me excited for the next book, to be honest, in that series. But yeah, I mean, it broadened the horizons, and, I guess that's pretty much it, I don't got that much, I guess.
Right on. Matt, how was your last book? You improved, altered, or changed your perception of how you look at Galaxy's Edge?
Now, I expect a message of hostility here from you, JR, but yeah, it being active duty, we kind of rip shit on reservists nonstop for being weekend warriors.
Indeed.
But I know reservists have done their part, and it was pretty awesome seeing them all in action and knowing that even though you're part-time military and all this sort of stuff, that you're still able to overcome the odds even as reservists, and even some of the best soldiers out there are weekend warriors. So I love reading it from like I said, like you get all these books where they're from like a special forces point of view, which is still awesome, but seeing it from another point of view, like people in the background, like say logistics or featherheads or or in this case reservists, it was just refreshing to see, and I liked that perspective and outlook. So I definitely want more like that. It makes the universe more human, if that makes sense.
Is that because the Legionnaires are so highly skilled, they don't appear human?
Yeah. Well, I can't say that. Oh, yep. I can't say because when you've got you've got our favorite kill team who are all wacky and rowdy characters. Hang on, the hell was that anyway?
It's the fires. They're knocking.
Oh, they get close to. It put a more human touch on the series, but even though it's already human enough, it just like seeing it from a different perspective made things a lot better for me as well, and I loved it.
That's why I liked that army major that was at the Battle of Tarragon, however you say that. Like I said, I can't pronounce anything.
Yeah.
Like I wanted more of him because he was just different. Like he was the outsider, the support character, if you would. And I'd like to see more about the Hull Busters and like all of the side stuff. I want more. I want all of it.
Have you guys read Forget Nothing yet?
I have it loaded on my Kindle to read after a certain arc reading I'm doing for a friend.
well, yeah, we're not going to chase that thread. There is a lot of Hullbuster love that goes on in that book.
Yep.
And Order of Centurion too had a lot of it.
Yes.
That Gunny Sergeant, oh my goodness.
Right. And we also had in the first book, very first book, you have that one kid that looks at Chun and he says, "Hey, what's with you guys in this and this alphabet soup you keep spitting?" And Chun is like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "What's KTF?" And I thought one of the greatest lines in that book, I will not spoil it, but comes at that next line of that next bit of dialogue, and it was just like, you know, when you get to the big reveal of this thing, and you're just like, yes, you almost felt indoctrinated, like you've earned something at the end of the book. That's really good writing when somebody does that. And with that,
have you seen the movie Renaissance Man?
Yes.
With Danny DeVito? There's a scene in that movie at the beginning where he's reporting in for this job to do remedial teaching at an army base. And he asks for directions at the gatehouse. And they're like giving him all this several minute long dialogue in all military jargon. And he's like, I have no idea what you just said. And then you see the transition at the end of that where somebody asks him for directions and he repeats it back. And it doesn't even faze him that now he's speaking another language. That's sort of how you feel as that basic when he's getting that discussion. And then it becomes more like you get to watch that evolution in real time. It was glorious.
Well, you should talk about your favorite part about that basic.
I don't want to spoil it. So this is loud. This is loud and wide right now. So if somebody wants to come in and Legionnaire is their first book, you know, I don't want to spoil it for them. All those thrills and oohs and ahs were just. I remember reading.
That's fair.
To this day, I remember reading that book for the first time, and like Matt was saying, it was unputdownable.
Yeah.
You know, and especially like within the first 5 minutes of like, you know, Chun and Ford, the two characters that you really follow in the first book. They're having their interactions. That could have been anywhere in Iraq, Afghanistan, any of the places that we've deployed. I mean, that was spot on, and just the research for that must have been exhaustive. But we have this amazing series that has come about, and it's really spawned a fan culture around it, which is just phenomenal. Rax Spartan 1, I love your name. This is one of the best sci-fi universes ever made. The Legion is probably one of the greatest fighting forces ever, and I think one of the great things about that statement that really rings true through the books is that they're not Mary Sue's. You know, they're not just the greatest fighting force ever. You know,
they're flawed.
You see when somebody messes up, somebody pays. There's a price. You know, you see when somebody wins big because somebody else has to pay that price. And I think that was really telling in the first few books. That
you see it. You see that in the cost in the first book alone when they're raiding that Kublar village, and obviously we can't spoil things, but that scene where like there was just issues.
Yeah,
that was very touching because some of us have lived through those issues.
Yes, so I mean, you know, just to have that cost, and like I said, at the end of book one, you feel like you've almost had to go through selection to be a Legionnaire because of what you went through with these guys. That's what you felt like damn straight, give me a freaking Victory Company patch, screw them, you know. You're just like ready to, you know, go out and just slap something. And it was really well written as far as how that drew you in, and that magic that it held you like that. And like I said, it spawned a really awesome fan culture. Enough so that JR went out and created the Facebook fan group. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I was, when I started reading the series, I actually found that it was existent that it existed through Jason and Nick were doing an interview on the Keystroke Medium, which is a sort of how-to writing podcast. So I'm not sure for just readers who aren't, interested in writing. I don't know how. You might find it enjoyable, you might not. But that's why I was looking, and I remember the first time I heard about it, Jason and Nick were getting interviewed, and Nick was doing one of his trademark. He was in it was evening. He was parked on the side of the road under one of those little lights. It was very noir, and he was talking in that gravelly voice he has. And I said, he was talking about this Star Wars, not Star Wars, and I'm like, dude, I'm sold. And at the time, Kill Team had just launched. So I bought it, and I did the audio, and I'm like, I can't do it. So when I should have been sleeping, because I was, like I said, I was in town for my brother-in-law's wedding, I stayed up all night and I read book 1, book 2, and book 3. And when I got home, that was a Friday. When I got home Monday morning, I started the Facebook fan group. And I told Jason and Nick, I said, I did a thing, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But we'll just take our ball and go home without you, because we're still doing this. And they're like, oh, sure, put us in it.
And now look where we are now.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Just so that you know, I might have jumped the wire and done a thing.
Yeah,
So-
LT, that village that was you're mentioning right there. What would hypothetically happen if it didn't exist anymore?
But
I've seen those discussions in real time.
But I mean, if you look at like some of the things that goes on in the fan group, it's more than just discussions of Galaxy's Edge. All of these guys go through and they pull all these different things from around the interwebs to kind of relate back to Galaxy's Edge. And it's a really fun interaction. So, I mean, and how many members do you have now? I mean, you help make me a moderator on that, and I get every time somebody wants to join the group, I get like a little email saying
Over 2,000.
Yeah, I have to delete, because I end up deleting most of them, because when I get the email, I jump into the group and somebody's already like put them in.
I have
You get
13.
Yeah, I get an
yeah.
email for it.
You get 13 super awesome moderators that help me keep that group insanely tight. So we keep it politics free, because I realize that a majority of the readers probably lean a certain direction, but not all of them. We do have our beloved Kamizar, Aaron Seaman, and a few others. I say that with love. And so we intentionally keep it apolitical, because, like I said, we're here to enjoy the Galaxy's Edge, and the only politics that matter are the House of Reason and why they must die, and why Goth Sullus did nothing wrong. But so we've got some awesome mods that keep it fun. Right now, it's a lot of stuff from other universes, because there's just not as much content as we would like to make it only Galaxy's Edge. But I foresee that changing in the near future, where the outside post will be the rarity. The other part of that is it's hard to do pure Galaxy's Edge when you don't want to spoil it.
Right.
And so we try to balance that. But there's a lot of memery going on. Some new Galaxy's Edge memes are being made. We share all kinds of military history, military in general, guns, science, other sci-fi worlds we love.
You've spawned a spoiler thread for that as well, right?
Yeah, there's some of the people wanted to be able to talk when new books came out, but they were, stifled by the no spoiler rule. So we have a group that I don't really moderate it. It's sort of the wild, wild west in there, but it is available if people are interested. It's the Galaxy's Edge fan club with spoilers, because we were real creative with titles.
Visionary.
Well, that was
I'm guilty of the off-topic posts a few times, or sort of off-topic posts in the group. I do a thing every week or 2 weeks called Wacky Wednesday or Terrible Thursday, which is the weirdest and most stupidest variants of firearms and technicals you'll ever find in history. Things that have been welded
That's not
together,
off-topic.
zip-tie guns. And I'll
Man,
just say
they would work just fine. I don't know what your problem is. I mean, I would shoot it.
like, I would shoot it. But mate, some of those people are very creative, and yeah, of course they are. That's Savage Wars tech right there. So there's the correlation.
right on.
I think guns make it the correlation. That's good enough for me.
That's also a very good point too. Yes.
Now, some of the interaction when the fan group with the spoilers came around, it seemed a little light to me. And at the time, a good friend of one of the other podcasts that I worked, Alice Peng, she was creating a Discord for the role-playing game that I own. And set it all up, blah, 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 showed me how to do it. I was like, oh, rock and roll. You know what would be really fun? If we had a Galaxy's Edge Discord. And so I set it up, I posted the thing, and all of a sudden, I had way more than I could handle. So Daniel and Matt came along, and they were very gracious, and they said, yeah, do you want us to help you? You know, we can, you know, and then there was like Transformers noises, and suddenly there was like this huge thing on the side. That's pretty badass. So what else can you guys do? And they're like, well, we can go over here. And there was like some little bunny hopping involved, and then more Transformers noises. And suddenly I had a whole other section. And I'm like, you guys should really be moderators. And poof, they were moderators. And the Discord has grown and exploded. So
yes.
Do you guys want to talk real quick about what Discord is and how we're using it on the Galaxy's Edge?
Sorry, yeah, you explain it, and I'll explain other stuff. You go.
Wait, what am I explaining? I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, okay, well, I'll go first then. Just
okay.
That's all right. So for those who aren't aware and are not sure what Discord is essentially it's like a very lightweight version of Skype, except 50,000 million billion gazillion times better. You can go in there, post in text chat, you can upload photos, videos, go into voice chats. Customize like your profile avatars and that sort of stuff. It's just a great program. It's easy to use, it's simple to use, and it's because it's primarily was used for gaming. A lot of people prefer to use that over all the programs like TeamSpeak and Ventrilo. Oh my god, Ventrilo, and other stuff like that. And just the connectivity and interactivity of Discord means that you can just click on the server and go join, and that's it. That's how simple it is. What we've done with our Discord, which is called the Oba Cafe, is we have myself. I did a fair bit of it, but Daniel's actually done a lot of work on it. We have it both extensively set up, channels upon channels for everything from the books to off-topic stuff, events, movie theaters, discussing other books, even the section for which I help run in there for the military veteran stuff, and even the gym section. Everything about GE is in there too. Even insiders can get their own access to their private sections. It's gigantic. But I'll hand you over to Daniel now, who's actually done a shitload of work. No other way to say it. Like, I've done a lot, but he's done a lot more than me. So I'm going to hand over to Daniel, who can tell you more about the server itself.
Right. So we got several bots even to help us moderate things, because in the first couple months, in order to get for a person to get their roles and stuff to actually be able to see the server, every moderator had to actually go and like authorize them and get them all set up. So I got a couple bots that actually just set up, so all you have to do is just click a little thing saying that, yeah, this is what I want to be, and then it gives it to you, and then it just automated everything, made it a whole lot better. We created a all company RP channel, and we have 3 very diverse companies. One is Terror Company, which is the straight up Black Fleet people, which you guys will be introduced later on to. But they're like the Dark Stormtroopers essentially. Vanguard Company is more akin to the Legionnaires, and then Phantom Company is more akin to just a group of kill teams. But yeah, and we have our intercompany banter, of course. There's a couple people that are doing a D&D night every month, I believe, and they keep it mostly Galaxy's Edge related, as far as I hear. We got a whole literature and art and channel section where fan channels can share their fan art and fanfics and stuff. I just added a Galaxy's Edge research and development tab, which is going to be basically all the modding and or 3D modeling stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a wide community right now, and there's just a lot of people that can that have a lot of different insights, and so when you join the Oba Cafe, you'll find your niche pretty easily, and you'll find a group of people that's gonna be, fun to hang out with and, keep in contact with.
And speaking of keeping in contact, there's also that exercise channel, so we can keep ourselves healthy and alive for another 100 years or so to keep reading these awesome books, because we're not going to let them die. We're going to freeze their brains if we have to with Walt Disney, and they're going to keep writing for perpetuity.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
We have to stay age fit, right?
That's right. You want to be airborne, you got to be thin, right? That's what they say.
Oh my God. It didn't really work out that way. I went to airborne school in 1990, and it wasn't that way.
That's what they said in the running cadences,
right?
As a side note, I would like to thank the server boosters, because without them, the server itself would not have a lot of the features that it does have. So that'd be Cozy, Barry, Warden, and Mackledog and Foxio. Those people, and you and me, those people, they basically allow the server to have all of the features we enjoy.
So some of us are new to Discord, because I got dragged over by Walt when he said, "Hey, Galaxy's Edge has this thing, and you should be there." So what is this booster thing you're talking about? Other troglodytes.
So Discord has a monthly subscription feature, and it's called Discord Nitro. Initially in the past, it let you use emojis in different servers. It was very limited, and it was more of a status role. What they've done with it now is allowed you to unlock a lot more perks for your server, even to the point where it could run a lot better. And once you get to a certain level, you can actually live stream yourself playing games or like other media in the voice chats. Like some servers won't actually have it enabled until you've boosted the server. When you click on the server and boost, like a progress bar. And the more progress you get, the more things unlock. And it's usually about $5 a month. So it's coming out of our own pockets to actually keep the server at a high tier.
Well worth it.
So is there any way for people to do like a one-time boost here? Let me throw some money at it to help get it up there, or how does that work?
Oh, well,
I think if you click on the if you go to in the Discord, if you click on server boost, when you click on Oba Cafe, you can click boost the server, and you can get a specific. I think you can just get a single month boost or something like that.
We're past level 1. What's that? Sorry.
Yeah, we're only I think 7 boosts away from making it to level 2, which allows better quality everything. We will even get a server banner, so when you look at the Oba Cafe, it'll actually have a whole banner that makes it look nicer,
Cool.
Yeah. You can do it like monthly or yearly or whatever like that. But and I highly encourage everyone to come join the Discord. The majority of it is very detailed and very safe for work for those who are concerned. The majority of the server is safe for work. We have a couple of channels. The veteran channel is a big one, which is a bit more not safe for work because crude veteran humor and talk, and we like to say what we think, but.
We've locked it down so that if you get into those channels, you know what you're getting into. That's exactly the bottom line.
Right on. And a lot happens in those channels, and it's really interesting. And like I said, one of the great things about this book series is the kind of people it attracts. It's not just people who are like, oh, damn you and your corporate culture ruining my blah blah blah. It's not all that. I mean, you got some of that, but at the same time, you have a lot of veterans. You have a lot of people who are passionate. You have a lot of people who are future seekers and fun seeking, and it just has spawned this amazing community. And like one of the things that we've seen is Jason and Nick ran a campaign where for a little bit of while They did. I don't want to know what you guys are laughing at.
Don't worry about it.
Something
Yeah, don't
you
worry
read
about it.
before.
Nothing to see here, MP. Move on. One of the things that Jason and Nick did was they linked in with Mission 22, that is on a dedicated campaign to try and fight veteran suicide, and they did a whole campaign where they donated the proceeds or a portion of the proceeds from the book to Mission 22. But that's not the only thing that kind of happens around. If you look at like somebody on this very panel, Matt has done a lot of live streaming of gaming to support and promote some of the things that he's passionate about, such as veteran causes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure can. So I also, aside from doing my regular job of nothing at work and doing this awesome, lovely panel, I am a Twitch streamer as well. And I'm just loose on there as well. What I do sometimes is do 24-hour straight streams where I start at the same time every Saturday at 11 o'clock and go through to 11 o'clock the next day with no long break at all. What I do for those is, as much as playing games, I have charities chosen for whatever's going on. The first one I did was actually for two charities. It was for Soldier On and Legacy Australia. They're being clips, by the way.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, don't do this one. This one's yeah. I swear a little bit on my stream, so it's a bit lame. But one of my good mates did a text-to-speech donation and got me killed in the process, and I was very angry. That's just one of the many clips from my videos. So I did for the military charities, Australian ones, Legacy and Soldier On. We actually got quite a lot of money for that, and I thanked everybody who took part. It was a very good set. I just recently, from that clip that you saw, I just recently finished that one for the Australian bushfighters and for our firefighters, because as you will all know, our entire country is in a state of emergency because the fires have killed, unfortunately, 1.3 billion animals. And and we've had some fatalities. So I did a stream for that. As much as I raised on stream $393 and $400 the week before, when I went to bed, I had several $1,000 donations come through after it. So that got exponential. Yeah, I was shocked, mate. I was like, oh my God.
That's great.
Right. And for speaking of streams, I have a 48-hour straight stream planned as well. And that is going to be for 5 charities in a row. That will include Mission 22. What's that?
When's that going to launch?
No idea yet. It won't be too far off, at least a month or two. It's all planned. I've got a big notepad document and shit written everywhere saying this music to this segment, this part here, how to say this, and that. Do not shake. Do not piss your pants here, and here. I planned this extensively. Look, I'm doing it for Mission 22, the Garrison East Foundation. The same thing, Legacy, Soldier On, and a 5th charity I still yet to choose. I like to raise funds and awareness for all these organizations that help active duty and veterans and their families as well who go through a tough time, because it's not just us who go through the shit. So, if there's unfortunate fatalities overseas, the family is left all of a sudden without their partner, and they've, aside from they got family support, they've also got, sometimes they feel like they got nowhere else to turn to, and that's where companies like Legacy Australia kick in as well. They help those family members. So that's what I aim to do.
So when I deployed, we did a lot of missions with other nationalities as far as patrols. And that's one of the things that shocked me. We sort of take it for granted as Americans that we've got this infrastructure to support us when we come home. With the Veterans Administrations, as bad as it can be, and with a lot of charities that are in the U.S., not all the other countries have that option. A lot of times they're just on their own. I've heard some horror stories from people. It's like, no, man, if I get hurt, it's over. I'm on my own. And so I like that you're not just picking American charities. You're getting like the Australia one, and you've talked about looking for one in the great United Kingdom. And so I like that it's international even.
Yeah, I support everyone who's served. They are my brothers, even though I may not have met everybody. They are my brothers in arms, and I want to support them.
Right on. That's really cool, man. It's fantastic. Make sure that when you get the next one going up, you let us know so that way we can pimp that to the stars.
I will definitely do that because I plan on integrating Facebook into the group as well for that.
Yes.
So it's going to be an experimental stream. I'm only having a 1 hour quick break at the 24-hour mark. That's it. So you'll see me non-stop on the camera. Oh no, it's not.
Well,
Field showers, I guess.
All the way back. Oh,
So one of the things that we put a pin in, we were supposed to come back to, was the part of being an insider is that you, aside from you get the 10% discount on the merch at the Galaxy's Edge website, you get to be a red shirt, right? And they write you in. But one of the things I didn't know about until recently that they didn't tell me, and Swordfish here was hinting at, is you don't find out either when your red shirt number is called until you're reading about it, like, oh my goodness, that's me. So can you tell us a little bit what that was like when you saw yourself in print like that, Swordfish?
I have not seen it yet.
He's not seen it yet.
Walt was the one that told me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're in here." I'm like, "Neat! I can't wait for the audio version."
So in the main series, we have constant references to the Savage Wars, and it was kind of like that moment in that other franchise where it's like yeah, I fought with your father in such and such a war, and you get those little references throughout. And then later on, George Lucas was like, we need a Jar Jar Binks. And suddenly the Clone Wars movies came out. And those prequels. So in a much better fashion, Nick and Jason have now gone back and tackled some of those earlier times. The first Savage Wars book, when I read that, chills. Yeah. Oh my God, there was a section in that book where you're just like, you knew it was coming, you knew who was going to be involved, and when it happened, you still had the hair standing up in the back of your neck, like,
I know exactly what you're about to.
But that first book, Matt was in that first book, I believe. Yes,
sure was.
Yeah,
I got a promotion from my current rank. I couldn't, because I looked at the book and I started reading it a bit when I first got it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I got to about 5 or so chapters in, and then all of a sudden there's my name with a high-ranking officer designation. I'm going, like, hey God, like, no. So I went to Kindle search and typed in my name and saw just all these pages where I'm like, I need to look at this. Oh my God, I'm excited. And then, I found out that I am gone from my current lowly rank here in my military to all of a sudden I am this high-ranking officer who does
Grand High Pumbaa.
You'll find out how I perish very shortly into it, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, I need to frame this when it comes out because I want to do it. I wanted to do it early, but I'm going to wait till it actually comes out. But the big thing I'm excited for as well is the certain person who's doing the audiobook for it.
That's
right. Reading my name out.
Is that public knowledge yet?
That is not public knowledge yet. So
okay,
unless you're an insider, you're gonna have to wait.
Yep. So I didn't say any names.
But I mean, those books have only been released to the insiders. It's just chip or rattle. It's about as surprised as one can get reading a book. I don't know. I mean, some of these moments that these guys are writing are just epic. And when you see them,
it is actually public knowledge.
Hey, hold up. Before you say that, Matt, what do you think your avatar would look like?
What in the book?
No, avatar.
Oh. Yeah. I just got that there. Oh, there you go. There's the actual. I gave you a link there. There's the actual Facebook post from the page itself.
Okay. Yep.
So it's public knowledge.
Yeah, it's public knowledge. That's from the Galaxy's Edge Facebook page, public page itself.
Hit it, Matt. Go.
So you can't wait for who?
Stephen Lang from Avatar, who as you much know him from that.
Outstanding.
It's gonna be off the hook. I cannot wait to hear him go through the Savage Wars like that.
We need a Savage War movie stat so he's still alive and kicking and doing the movie.
Now, what was his quote specifically when he was in the thing? in the recording studio.
Do you have it right there in front of you, Matt?
I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, where's the post? Oh shit, go back. I just closed it down.
Come on, Matt. You're letting the team down.
Where is it? Galaxy Edge post. Here we go. It says officially told last night that actor Stephen Lang will be narrating the Savage Wars trilogy. Savage Wars, Gods and Legionnaires, and the 100. KTF in effect is what it says.
Well, that's not the only thing he said. So, but I think that one was on the insider group.
He said something.
This one, yeah, I think that one was, yeah.
Yeah, that one was on the insider group. But they got Stephen Lang to narrate that, and we've known this for a little while now as insiders. But the great thing about being an insider is some of the level of interaction you get, because there's a private group just for the insiders, and Jason and Nick are like sharks circling their prey in that group. So, I mean, if it directly relates to Galaxy's Edge, they're all up in it and all about it, and quick to respond to the fans, which is awesome, But
So have they responded to your request for a Hogus book then?
not publicly.
Because I have it on good authority. You promised to narrate it if that comes out.
If they come out with a Hogus and Scrids book, I will narrate the crap out of that.
Yeah, boy.
So, right after I finish my 19 other narration duties. Thanks, JR.
Sorry.
You're not sorry.
No.
But also as part of the insider group, we've gone and done a lot of promotion of insiders, because on every insider podcast we bring on an insider and kind of debut them and feature them as part of the episode, so that people can see that there are people from all over the place that are reading these books and really enjoying them. And get kind of like that fresh fan perspective on things, which I think is a lot of fun and a great segment to have on the show. And I think we have both Daniel and Matt to thank for that. So, I mean, that's because they do the hard work of what is it, bribing, or Black Hood to get people on the show.
Who are you? You're Dark Ops, right? Get over here!
I employ the shadier methods of the NetherOps side, where if they don't say yes, they are never heard from again.
or you have that.
That's where our members keep going.
Yeah.
Stop that.
No,
that other side of NetherOps too, where it's like, listen, if you don't come on the show, I'll ruin your credit score.
Oh, that's rough.
That's evil.
Right. So, so while we're winding down, because we're already at 80 minutes, and it doesn't feel like that, because anytime we get together and talk Galaxy's Edge, it really goes quick. Parting thoughts before we call this a podcast. Let's go Matt first.
Mate, we may as well. Yeah, look, as I've said before, I'm excited for 2020 and what it's going to bring for the series. Not knowing with the insider stuff what's coming. Oh my god! All I'm saying is, prepare your Anguses. This is going to be a fucking wild ride, mate. Yeah. But look, I want to thank everybody from the fan group, from Discord, insider group, everywhere for sticking with us from pretty much podcast 1 to now and helping this community grow into what it is today. So, fellas and fellettes, lads and ladettes, bloody thank you very much. I love yous all.
Right on. Daniel, not only do we have some great content coming, but there are rumors circulating of a clandestine operation in the woods of the north west side of the country. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we're currently in our planning stages for a 2020 meetup, and we're aiming for it to actually be on my property, because I've got 12 acres of open land outside of city limits that we can do all sorts of shenanigery. And I think it's like within 3 to 4 hours of Jason Onspach, who might be able to come on over and visit. We're trying to lock down a date right now and figure out when it would be feasible for everybody. I kind of want to get it set to when Matt's actually going to be coming over to the States, because he's from the down under, and
We hadn't noticed.
I don't want him to have to bust his credit score too bad to stay over in the States that long.
I have a credit score.
Yeah, we're thinking potentially doing a paintball or airsoft get together, and even some kind of big barbecue for the night. Well, we'll see how it pans out, but right now it's planned for this summer, between July and September.
Right on. JR.
So first, we're gonna.
Final note for the night.
I'm going to piggyback off of what he said because I'm in that planning group. It amazes me constantly the wealth of experience and knowledge that our fan club has, because we've had people like, oh, I plan these events for a living. Let me help you. And just the wealth of knowledge. I can't imagine a single topic we couldn't ask some of the fans, and we couldn't find an expert of something if we needed it. And so that's hopefully going to make this become, maybe by 2021, the Galaxy's Edge convention. We'll see. As far as what I'm looking forward to in 2020, a certain somebody might have been pressured, blackmailed, bribed, whatever we want to use, into making a Galaxy's Edge unofficial, non-canon role-playing game. And I'm looking forward to seeing that happen through the Discord, playing some playthroughs. And I am looking forward to seeing what goodness they have, because my official word is, with the story I'm working on for Jason, is we won't get to it right away. We've got our editors busy, so if they're at the point where they're like, editing staff is on tilt mode, I think there's a lot of goodness down the pike, and we might have to hunt down some extra editors for them.
I did want to chime in for one more thing. For people that don't know, Audible, if you sign up for Audible, you'll get, a couple Audible releases. I believe, if I'm not correct, Forget Nothing is a free release that you can choose for March, right? Or is it April?
I will have to find that out for you. I'm a bad host. I should have been prepared. Keep going.
But yeah, so if you sign up for Audible before then, or even that month, you can get that book for free. So, I mean, a free Galaxy's Edge book? Come on, guys. On top of that, back to the meetup. If anybody is interested in helping out and set up the meetup, by all means, go ahead and hop on the Discord, get in contact with us, and tag me. My tagline is right here. And I can give you the role so that you can be a part of the meetup group. And, I mean, help is greatly appreciated for doing events like this.
I just want to tell anybody who might be listening to this on audio that we were all pointing around to different points of the screen, including JR, who doesn't have his camera on. So that's just fantastic. I just want to thank you guys for coming out and spending a little time on your Friday night, or looking at the clock counter, spending a lot of time on your Friday night, talking about Galaxy's Edge. We are going to be doing. Doing a series of these shows, and then if you are an insider, you will be getting. So this will be the Galaxy's Edge podcast. There will be a Dark Ops podcast, and as of right now, from my understanding, those will not be rebroadcast. Those will only be for the insiders, and only insiders will have access to them. So that way, that will be premium content that only they can get. And those will feature either one of the authors in and around Galaxy's Edge, or one of the series creator, Jason Ansbach and Nick Cole. If you are interested in looking to get into Galaxy's Edge a little bit more, you can always go to galaxiesedge.us, and you can find all of the great content that is fit to share and fit to put on your Kindle. They have a whole pro shop where you can buy the great T-shirts that you see Matt and Daniel looking. You can get access to all of the books. You can buy signed copies, and of course, you can sign up to be one of the insiders if that's your thing. But if not, There's tons of great content already on this website, free to use, except for, obviously the things you have to pay for, such as books and stuff like that. But it is the centerpiece for where the community is launched. You can always go to Facebook and look up Galaxy's Edge on Facebook. Make sure it's look for Galaxy's Edge Legionnaire, because there's an imposter out there calling itself Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't judge, but at the same time, we're judging. So you can always...
Weird how that name happened close together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're Galaxy's Edge, but not Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, nice try. But there's tons of stuff that you can find, wallpapers for your phone or your desktop. I mean, just lots and lots of fun. So go to galaxiesedge.us. You can go to the Facebook group, Facebook fan group. And you can
also find these on the Facebook fan group.
Yep. So challenge coins, just like you might find in any of the premier units of the United States military.
Legion crest
plates, which are just dynamic, gorgeous. There's so much out there with such a talented fan base, chasing two talented authors who are producing tremendous amounts of fantastic content. If you're not looking to jump into this amazing series, you don't like fun. That's just all it is.
Yes, so, I'm normally the policy of no fun allowed, but you have to have fun to be part of this community. So, yes.
Yeah, no points allowed. With that, I just want to thank you guys for coming out, and I want to thank all of the great people who produce content for this stuff. It's made fandom a much more fun place to interact with, and we really appreciate it. So that being said, my name is Walt, and on behalf of the Galaxy's Edge podcast, we're signing out. And now there's going to be an awkward silence as the broadcast ends, where we have to pretend